Hey, what's up you guys? Marty Schwartz here. Now I've been exploring a few ideas and I have something on my mind I'd like to share with you. Regardless of what kind you prefer, music is a part of the human experience. It might seem preposterous to put these people in the same sentence, but Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart, Page, Hendrix, and Clapton, even Puth, Swift, and Grande are all actually doing the exact same thing to your brain. If you really think about it, it's kind of weird that we even like music. There's no logical reason for us to respond to it the way we do. I mean, what is it about a series of transients and frequencies played together for an extended period of time that makes us move our feet, get tingles down our spine, and bob our head while biting our bottom lip? I think it all boils down to a few things, one of which is repetition. That's right, repetition is the thread. It all comes down to repetition.
Repetition.
Since forever, music has tapped into one of our most primal survival instincts, our innate ability to recognize patterns. Eons ago, humans began to notice things like, every person that goes over by that rock gets eaten by a lion, so I better stay away from that rock. The early humans who were better at this were able to create more humans that possess this talent, meaning present-day people, you, me, and everyone else on planet Earth, are really good at pattern recognition. This ability allows us to quickly recognize and respond to even benign patterns and not realize what we're doing. Which is why songwriters often say things like, if they can't sing along by the third verse, it won't be a hit. A sentiment that speaks to the skill pretty directly. If we can find the pattern, we become familiar with the song more quickly. And familiarity breeds likability. One can observe these repetitive melodies in pop songs like Call Me Maybe and We Don't Talk Anymore. More classic guitar riffs like Immigrant Song and Crazy Train, even really classic licks like For Elise, Ode to Joy, or Mozart's Requiem. There's a flip side to this too. Songs that establish a pattern but then eventually defy your expectations of said pattern are more likely to keep you interested. Too much repetition becomes monotonous, but if you throw something different in there, seemingly unexpected, it'll keep your listeners intrigued on their toes. This is most of the logic behind the classic AABA songwriting format. The A section establishes a pattern. It then repeats to create familiarity. The B section defies your expectations. Then the A section repeats again to bring it back home. The easiest and most YouTube monetization friendly example of this is probably Happy Birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michael. Happy birthday to you. If your name's Michael and it's your birthday today, I hope you're freaking out. You should probably be a Marty music fan by now. Some less monetization friendly songs that use AABA are the Beatles' Hard Day's Night, Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love, and Ariana's No Tears Left to Cry. Regardless of whether they're using counter melodies, guitar solos, or raps, all these tunes contain a prominent B section. Even a few of Beethoven's sonatas use repeating lines that emulate this form. You might even recognize this pattern in Mozart's Rondo alla Turca. Check out the description for more info on these songs. As I've mentioned earlier, there's no evolutionary reason for us to recognize or respond to these patterns as acutely as we'd respond to patterns that determine the difference between life or death. But frankly, our brains aren't smart enough to tell the difference between patterns we need to respond to and ones we don't. I'm sure you're thinking, but Marty, the pattern theory is fascinating, but it doesn't really answer why I have such a strong emotional response to Celine Dion's entire catalog. And that's a fair point, hypothetical person I made up. Some of it has to do with a process scientists call entrainment, a term that refers to the human ability to synchronize with an external rhythm. These scientists believe that because we humans evolved into a tendency to share a collective goal with other humans, looking out for what's best for the group over the individual, we developed an instinctive ability to recognize and respond to external forces. Presently, this is best exemplified by clapping along to an upbeat song, but this phenomenon also manifests itself in subtler ways. If you enjoy listening to fast music while you work out, it might be because the music subconsciously helps you maintain your pace and push through a hard workout when you would otherwise slow down or stop. This prowess is so ingrained in us, our heart rate can even fluctuate to rhythmic changes in music, which our brain may attribute to an emotional response like excitement or suspense. If the levels of entrainment are high, your brain will most likely attribute the physical reaction to an emotional one. But possibly the most solid evidence for why we react so strongly to Celine Dion has to do with how our brains interpret speech. As you may have guessed, we're pretty good at understanding someone's emotional state by the way they are expressing themselves, because our ancestors had to be crack communicators in order to survive. The volume, pitch, and timbre of someone's speaking voice carries with it a lot of emotional data for our brain to interpret. If someone speaks in a high-pitched voice, they're happy. If their voice is low and monotone, they're probably sad. And if their voice is warbled and quiet, they might be frightened. And that's just on a basic level. There are a wide range of complex emotions that we can decipher just on how someone uses language. And since music incorporates all these elements, years. It's not much of a jump to say that your brain may be interpreting music as exaggerated speech, which is why for hundreds of years we've packed ourselves into concert halls to basically exercise our brain's involuntary pattern, entertainment, and speech analysis muscles, because biologically our body rewards itself when we're able to detect these aspects of music that are often exaggerated. When I say your brain rewards itself, I mean that quite literally. When we listen to music we find pleasurable, a neurotransmitter called dopamine is released into the body. Sad music has been known to trigger the release of prolactin, which is related to feelings of comfort. Music consumption can be tied to a reduction in the stress hormone called cortisol. You heard me. Music literally reduces stress. Ultimately, all of this just shows how important music is to our daily lives. There are even some musicologists that swear to music's ability to be therapeutic. Now, I certainly can't speak for everyone, but I know that I've used music as therapy in the past. And since all music from the Renaissance to the postmodern era uses these same techniques, in my view, it seems reasonable to say any style of music can have value. Ariana's 7 Rings may not trigger a dopamine release for you quite like Zeppelin's Good Times, Bad Times, but that song might release that neurotransmitter for someone else. Did this video trigger a release of dopamine for you? Let me know in the comment section if you agree with me and would like to see more content like this on my channel. If you want to listen to any of the songs I mentioned in this video, check out the links below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to Marty Music. Thanks again for the support. Hope to see you real soon.